All right, in this video we're going to talk about how to set up autofill for your contracts and templates. And what I mean by autofill, it just means that all the information is going to automatically fill in all the blanks so you can generate contracts and packages in 5 seconds. I mean, it's really quick and really easy. What you're going to notice here is you're going to notice any of these contracts that have the FreedomSoft logo, those are system templates. So what we've done is we've already set up autofill for you. That's the reason why you're going to see the view button over here instead of edit. So you're only able to view these. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to go into one of them right now so you can see basically how we set up the autofill. So when we're doing the test here on showing you how to fill it out, it's going to be much easier for you to understand. So purchase and sale when buying, let's just go ahead and click on any of these. Click on the view button. And notice you're going to see brackets. All we did is we came into the spot in the contract and where this information would need to be entered, and we started putting in these custom variables. User company name, sale price, on the back page here, user signature, buyer first name, last name, current date, closing date, a bunch of different things here. It's really simple to go through. So that's basically how we filled it out. So what I'm going to do is let's go back in and let's take a blank contract and I can show you how to set up these templates. And you could set these up for anything that you have. Any short sale documents, any wholesale documents, any REO documents, any lease agreements. It doesn't matter what it is that you have, you can go ahead and set up the autofill. So let's just go back to the other page here. All right, and I have a far bar, which is a blank far bar in the contract template here. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and click on edit, and this is going to bring up a blank contract. Notice I have a blank state contract here for Florida. So first thing I want to do is party, so seller. In this case, I'm going to set up 2 contracts. One is me as the seller and one is me as the buyer, but for in this case, this is me as a seller. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in. Anywhere that I want to click, that's where I'm going to set my variable in. Notice how I can click around the page, and those 3 things follow me. One is a hand, so if I click on the hand, I can move the text around. One is the save, and one is the trash can. All right, so let's do parties. So I'm going to click on the parties, and I'm looking for my variables because I'm a seller. So I'm going to see, you're going to see your variables up top. You're going to see property variables and then buyer variables, and then insert a custom variable that you don't see. You can change, you can underline, you can italicize, bold, you can change the text size and the text style. So what I always do here is I always go up and I change the text size to 10 just to make sure everything fits. So that's the first thing I do. All right, so parties. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my company name. All right, so boom, user company name, it's right in there. If I wanted to move this around, all I do is click on the hand and then I can move this down. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set it up just like it's on the line. So it looks like it's just on the line, user company name, and that would be the buyer, right? So I would click on the next line and then I'm going to go up to buyer variables, buyer first name, and then I would hit the space bar, and then I would click on buyer last name. And there we go. It looks like that's set up pretty good. I might want to grab the hand and move it down just a little second there. All right, so I'm set up. So the first things are both auto-populated, and we're ready to go. All right, let's go down and look into the contract. Let's do, now we have to do address of the property. So I'm going to go down to this line here. I click, and now it's a property variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on address, and then I'm going to hit space, and then I'm going to hit city, comma, and let's do state, space, and zip. All right, so now I have all that information in there. Again, I grab the hand now, and I just move it down just a little bit. Now, you might have to go back in here a couple times just to set up, just make sure that the spacing is right for you. But once you set these contracts up once, you never have to do it again, which is really awesome. All right, so we just filled that out in there. Now, purchase price, I'm going to click here. Now, purchase price, that would be, you're not going to see that as a custom variable. You're not going to see that as a property variable. And you're not going to see that as a buyer variable. So that would be what's called a custom variable. So I'm going to go ahead and click Insert Custom. Well, let's just hit here. Let's click back in, and then I'm going to hit Insert Custom Variable. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to click the delete button. And now I'm going to type in there, and I'm just going to type purchase space price. So now I know when I'm getting ready to generate this contract, there's going to be a section where it's going to ask me, we'll put it this way, anytime that I have a custom variable, that information I'm going to be prompted to answer. All right, so just remember, anything that you put in custom, and that's what it's going to happen. The same thing here is escrow. Now what I do is deposit held in escrow company. I want to go ahead and just put my title company because I always deal with the same company. So if I click, I can type immediately. So COMPASS, land and title. All right, now notice once I clicked in there, that is no variable whatsoever, so there's no brackets. So I can put language that is going to be permanent language in the contract by clicking and typing. Any of the other variables that we put in, notice how they have the braces. The braces for insert custom are the ones that we're going to be prompted to answer. Any of the other variables that we have in, those are going to come in automatically into the system. All right, so purchase price, let's do deposit here. So again, I would go up and click on custom variable, and I'm going to write deposit. And let's take the hand and move it over just a little bit. And this line, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put balance. So I'm going to insert a custom and write balance. And move that over just a little bit. Okay, I'm looking pretty good. If you want this to disappear, just click somewhere outside the document, or you can go ahead and click inside the document and then hit the trash can, and that'll get rid of it. Let's go down. Financing. This is a cash financing offer. So what I'll do is I'll move this right over, right next to it, and then I'm going to hit the X. Okay, and that's going to be a permanent thing there. And again, guys, you're going to have to figure out how to set up your own contracts. We can have some calls on it and stuff, but this is really just to give you a really good idea of how everything works. Closing date. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to go up and hit insert custom variable, and that is going to be my closing date. All right, that's good for the first page. Let's go on to the second page. And let's see here. Let's go down and put my signature in. So we're the seller. And those are my variables, so that would be my signature. Now the signature is kind of funny for some reason. The signature, because it's so big, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your signature about one set up. So if this was where we were at the first set, I might want to put this up a little bit so the signature line fits in there nice. So I always lift the signature. That's the only thing that we actually lift that doesn't space like absolutely perfect. So, and then date, let's go ahead here, and I'm going to put current date in. So I go back up to my user variables, and on the bottom there I'm going to see current date. And let's move this over a little bit. Okay. And then on the bottom here, what I can do is I could put in my name. So I click down here, and that is my variable here. So I can do first name, and then I can do space and come back up and hit last name. See that? So now I can have my first name and my last name underneath here. And I can do the same thing for buyer. I don't even think that we have a lot of buyer variables in here, but let me show you what I mean. So buyer variables, what I mean by is I think we have dummy data in here, so I don't know if that's going to come through right, but let's hit first name, space, and let's put in his last name. All right, and let's move this over just a little bit here. Okay, so now we've set up all the variables for our contract, and let's go ahead and save this as it's saved as a test contract already. And this is where I'm going to put in the description, far bar test. All right, so that's a description of it. I'm going to go down and click on Save Changes. All right, so here's the one that we just set up, test contract. So I'm going to click Edit. I just want to make sure everything came through all right. Right, here's all our information. Everything's good. I'll go down and hit Save Changes again. And now what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and test this out. I want to test out this contract. So I'm going to go into one of my leads. So I'm going to go into Seller Search, click on a new lead, and then I'm going to go to the Actions tab, and I'm going to generate a contract. And that was, let's go to next page here. That was test. Maybe it's on page 3. Test contract. Okay, we found it. I believe this is what it was. Test contract. Let's hit next. It's going to ask us for our buyer, whoever the buyer is. Let's just go ahead and put this in there. We'll click on the next button. Now it's going to ask me my variables for the contract. Remember, this is the custom variables that we put in. So purchase price, $35,000. Deposit, let's do 1,000. Balance would be 35 minus 1,000, which would be 34,000. And the closing date, I'll just click on the calendar icon here and click a closing date, and I hit the next button. Now, notice what you're going to see is that this is the one that we set up. It brings in our name, it brings in the buyer's name, it brings in the address, all of the contract price, deposit, balance, title company, all the information that we put in. Let's go to page 2. There's my signature. Here's my name underneath. Here's my buyer's name. It didn't bring in his last name because it wasn't scheduled in the system. So what I would look and I would see, do I like my spacing? Is everything good? Do I want to move this guy's name over a little bit? So I would go through this contract at this point in time and just make sure that I like where everything is. See this 35,000? I might want to move that over just a little bit. So I know I need to move the $35,000 over just a tad, and I might want to move that buyer's name over. So let's go ahead and close this, and then I just want to go back. So I'm going to go back to Manage Documents. I'm going to go to my test contract and hit Edit. And remember that purchase price. So what I'm going to do, I need to move this over, so I'm going to click in it. That brings up the hand, and I'm just going to move it over just a little bit. I'm going to go to page 2. I'm going to go to the buyer first name. I click on the entire box. The hand comes up, and actually, the hand comes up there. Let's slide it over a little bit. So notice how I did that. I went, we set up the contract, we saved it, then we tested it, and then we looked at where everything filled out, and I had a couple things I needed to move over. So I went back into Manage Documents. This is where you're going to be able to do all your edits. I moved a couple things around, and now we're good to go. So that is how you are going to autofill your contracts. It takes just a second to get used to, and you can fill out any contract or anything that you really need to have in here, and I think you're going to have an absolute blast with it. That is an overview of how to autofill contracts and templates into the system.